and welcome. I am Mandira and you're watching India Today's SoSouth. Ever since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government called for a special session of Parliament, the rumour mills have been working overtime. What is he up to? Is he going to just move to the new Parliament building? Or just discuss a few pending bills? Or is he going to bring in the One Nation, One Poll bill? With the special session less than 2 days away, the most asked question is he going to advance Lok Sabha polls? Modi loves to keep all his cards close to his chest. But there are hints from his public life that can help us figure out what he might do and what he might not. Today, our editor, Mr. B.V. Rao, has made a list of 7 reasons why he thinks Modi will call early elections and 5 reasons why he will not. So I'll first list out the reasons why Modi might call early elections. So reasons for early polls are special session, One Nation, One Poll committee, 1 + 2 = 3, puncture India, positive mood, fear of food inflation, BJP's Modi Brahmastra. And here is the list of reasons why he won't call early elections. Risky and tedious, Covid committee, a 5-year ritual, once bitten, innocuous agenda. So now let me invite Mr. B.V. Rao to explain these reasons in detail. Hello, Venkat sir.
Hi, Mandira.
All right, sir. So let's go through the list one item at a time. So the first, the special session. What does it tell us?
Yeah, I think that's in the name, special session, right? So everybody is expecting something very big, very special. So the first thing that comes to everybody's mind when we are talking about something special is it going to be early elections? Because it is that time of the year, right? We are just a few months away from the election. So the obvious rumor or obvious deduction is that Modi is planning something very big in terms of early elections, right? That's why I think the moment he called a special session, everybody started talking about early elections.
Right. All right, sir. So your second reason says ONOP, which is One Nation, One Poll election.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
So I think this is just a red herring. What One Nation, One Poll. Soon after the special session was announced, he came up with the announcement of One Nation, One Poll committee under former President Covid. This basically, I think, was intended to actually fuel the rumors about an early election. But I doubt whether it is that. But yeah, like I said, I think it is just the fact that he announced a special session and then simultaneously called a former president to give suggestions on one election, one nation, one election. Everybody has kind of put 2 and 2, and in many ways 2 and 2 can be 22, right? So I think that's where we are. That's why the One Nation, One Poll announcement has happened.
Okay. So your third reason, 1 + 2 = 3. So what do you mean?
Yeah, as I said, I was already said 1 + 2 = 3, as in special session. Then read that together with the committee formed by under COVID's leadership. Then you tend to immediately think that okay, special session, he's going to bring in the bill to make what you call constitutional amendments, and simultaneously the ex-president's committee report will come, so we will all have early elections. So that's the immediate deduction.
Moving on, the next fourth point is puncture India. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, puncture India as in I.N.D.I.A, right? India, yeah. The opposition alliance. So why would Modi want early elections, if at all? That is because there's a grouping that's coming is forming, and it's taking its time, but they seem like they are thinking of a much more solid alliance than just saying that okay, we are with you, we will not fight against you. This alliance, they are trying to actually see which party is the primary party in a particular state, and everybody then supports that party by withdrawing their candidates, right? So that's a much stronger alliance than let's say the last few elections we have had under the overall umbrella alliances. This time, the India alliance seems to be a little more serious about supporting people like, let's say, backing Mamta all the way in West Bengal, withdrawing candidates so that it will be Mamta versus BJP in Bengal. And that result, we know what happened. Similarly, if that is done in Tamil Nadu, for example, if everybody, all other opposition parties withdraw and it becomes BJP versus uh, the rest or DMK, you know already what has happened, right? So I think that alliance, before it takes final full shape, because there are many contradictions, it's not easy for that alliance to come at this arrangement, electoral arrangement. So I think what why Modi would want early elections is before this conglomeration can come together and really form a solid alliance, which could actually undermine the BJP in various states, especially in the north. That is one reason why he would want to announce early elections, so that these people are not prepared enough. They don't have enough time to come or kind of what you call hammer out all details and prepare and have enough time to campaign, because Modi forever is in a campaign mode, right? He's never off campaign at any time, but the others come into play only 3 months, 2 months before elections. So I think he just wants to cut that time short for the opposition. So that could be one reason why we have all assumed that he wants to call early elections.
Right. All right, sir. So next, your point is positive mood. Can you elaborate that?
Yeah, the positive mood, generally we have been through a successful launch of Chandrayaan, then G20, the economy is on the upswing. Generally, there's good news, and I think people generally are feeling, even globally, all global leaders as well as global newspapers, global media has started talking about India in positive terms after a long time. They all see India as one of the hopes in terms of the growth in economy for the next few years or maybe even decades, right?
Yeah.
And that positive mood, of course, there are the riders like inflation and unemployment, and others are weak links in that picture. But overall, the mood of the nation is pretty upbeat. So that could be one reason why people are saying, okay, this is the time Modi will go, because the longer he waits for the elections, something else might happen and this mood might change. And by which time, if the opposition alliance takes root, then he'll have more trouble. I think that is one reason why people are saying that he might go in for early election. And obviously, the parallel is drawn with Atal Bihari Vajpayee's calling of early elections, that in 2004, under the slogan of India Shining, that's very close to what's happening right now. But the key difference is that Modi is not given to being overconfident when elections are around the corner, right? He likes to nail every kind of likes to drive every nail into the coffin of the opposition before he takes them on. So that's one thing. So the whole assumption of why he would call early elections is based on the positive mood. Generally, people in the country are feeling upbeat about things. I think that's why I put the positive mood of the nation. Also, if you've been looking at the recent reports, he is also still the most preferred global leader by a huge margin, right? 76% approval for his global leadership in India. So that's a big lead, and that's why it might seem like he would want election earlier than later.
Right. All right, sir. So you've also mentioned fear of food inflation. What is this fear of
Yes.
inflation that you've listed?
Yeah. So whole of August, I think we've been through this, the tomato price crisis. Tomatoes went in most parts of India, especially in the north, to 260 rupees per kg and all that, right? And wheat prices have gone up, rice prices have gone up, edible oil prices have gone up. Generally, everything is on the upswing in terms of prices. the inflation, food inflation is what is actually driving our overall inflation to more than the mandated 6% is the upper limit of RBI's mandated inflation. We are way above that. Maybe just now it's coming under a bit of control. That control has been exercised because of various reasons, which I'll come to later. So the general consensus would be that before the inflation picture kind of gets worse, he would want elections. So this is a good time to hold elections. So that's one of the reasons. Inflation. Everybody thinks that before things go very bad, he might want to get the elections going.
Right. Okay. All right. So BJP's Modi Brahmastra is next on your list. So can you explain that?
Yeah. See, BJP is an upbeat. Principally because there's a person like Prime Minister Narendra Modi who's leading the party. He's way bigger than the BJP right now, right? So if the election, if Modi were to lead the BJP in election, he will lead the BJP in the election, and if this is supposed to be one nation, one poll, which is what is our assumption mostly, that he might actually go in for early elections coinciding with the state elections. Then what happens is when you have state assembly elections separately on their own without coinciding with the parliamentary election, the issues are completely different, right? Then the Modi impact on our state elections is not as high or as prominent as we have seen in the Lok Sabha elections. The recent examples are Himachal Pradesh, and a bigger example is Karnataka, right? So the Modi's the overhanging image and perception of Modi is kind of undermined by lack of state leaders, the state issues taking precedence, and all that. But if elections are held together in states and nations, Modi is such a marvelous campaigner that he will deliberately set the agenda for a national poll rather than for a states poll. So all the issues of the states will get subsumed into this election, into the one nation, one poll election, giving Modi and the BJP the upper hand. And Modi being such an electoral gladiator, when he gets into election, he's all over there, right? Every day he doesn't tire. He's doing government functions half a day, and then he's getting into public meetings the rest of the day. So the moment he enters the electoral fray as a prime minister and as somebody who's so big in terms of the importance of the election, all cameras, everything 24/7 will be on him. There will be very little space for state issues, and there will be very little space for opposition in that kind of a narrative, which is a one nation, one poll narrative. So Modi is such a gladiator. That is why people assume that he will bring the elections forward. He will take it along with the elections to Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Telangana, I think Meghalaya and Chhattisgarh. In at least 4 of these states, the BJP is not looking good right now. So if Modi advances the election and he takes over the election hearing, then all the weaknesses in these 4 states might actually be washed away. That is why people are assuming that he will go in for early elections.
All right. Okay, so those are the 7 reasons why Modi might consider early elections. So now let's look on to the reasons why he might not consider. So first on that list, Venkat sir, is a risky game. So can you tell us what is the risk?
Yeah, conducting elections to 5 states and LS will need a constitutional amendment, right? Not just one. There might be more than one constitutional amendments to make. Then it might also need affirmation in the state assemblies. Unless the state assemblies also kind of support it, it might not be possible to kind of dissolve their assemblies and then go for one election. So the more important is that in the Rajya Sabha, the current strength of the BJP does not indicate that they will have a smooth sailing. And Modi is not known to take risks that he knows he doesn't have enough, he doesn't have a chance of winning. So I don't think he will take the constitutional amendment route at all, and at least not in this session. If he had to do that, he would have definitely tried in the session that just went by. It was not even maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago it ended. So I don't think this special session has anything to do with the one nation one poll bill that everybody assumes he will bring. My assessment is no, this is not what this special session is about.
Okay, right. All right, so the next on your list is Kovind, the red herring. So can you explain that?
Yes.
Please?
So Modi loves to keep you off guard, keep you off track, keep you guessing what he wants to do. So he announced the special session. Then people, all of us immediately started talking about early elections. So to kind of further give more grist to the rumors, he brought in this Kovind committee. It's very clear that he wanted everybody to think, yes, this is it. This parliament session will come up with a special constitutional amendment on one nation, one poll. But does it seem likely? He set it up. He set up the committee about 10 days ago now, right? And by tomorrow, that committee has to give its recommendations. Does it look like it's going to happen? So I think it was just a red herring. He enjoys people having kind of a rumor festival in the country. So, and then he'll end up doing something completely different. So I think it was a very deliberate attempt to throw us off our tracks and for us to believe that, yeah, we got him. We understood. This is what he's doing. I don't think we have understood what he's doing yet.
All right. Okay. So why do you call this a 5-year ritual? So
this is if you have lived as long as I have lived, I think you would have by now known that every election, just about one year before the parliamentary elections, these rumors kind of they raise their head and they stay there for a few months, and maybe about 4 or 5 months or maybe even 3 months before the election, then everybody gives up and says, okay, now they'll be on schedule. This happened in 2019 also. Everybody was so certain that Modi is going to go for an early election. He didn't, right? And as I said, he's different from the BJP of Vajpayee time. They were extremely certain that they were going to sweep India because they thought India was shining, and then Congress came out of nowhere. So Modi is not given to electoral overconfidence. He likes to fix everything to the last detail. So the one thing that he will not show is that, okay, I know I'm going to win this, so I'll bring this election forward. I don't think he'll do that. So that's the reason why I said it's a 5-year ritual, and we shouldn't put too much we must not give too much importance to this.
Right. Okay. So number 4 on your list is once bitten. So who and what are you referring to?
Yeah, once bitten, I've already referred to one reason, which is the 2004 election, which BJP lost. They thought they were going to win hands down, and Congress won it hands down. From nowhere, it came up and took up some 208 seats or something, which is the biggest victory for Congress after a long time, right? And it is not, it's not reached that. In fact, it has dropped to 44 and 54 in the last 2 elections, right? So that is one reason why I said once bitten. More important is that Modi knows that the job of calling for an early election is only 50% in the hands of governments. 50% or more, it's in the hands of the Election Commission. And nobody knows this better than Modi, because he did this in 2002 as Gujarat Chief Minister. He wanted, just after, less than 6 months after the Gujarat riots of 2000, early 2022, he wanted elections in about July. I think I might be off by a month here and there. I think in July or August he called for elections, whereas they were only due in 23 February. The then chief election commissioner Lingdo, JM Lingdo, he put his foot down, saying that no, the state is in no shape. The riots have just happened. People are still displaced. The rehabilitation work is very, very tardy. He said we will not hold elections till things normalize. And finally, I think the elections were held in Gujarat only in the month of December of 2022. And that cycle is still kind of continuing to this day.
Yeah, sir. So your last point is innocuous agenda. So can
Yep.
you, like the innocuous agenda the government has set for the special session. So can you elaborate more on that, please?
Yeah. So this is the last item on my list, but I'm sure it actually is so overpowering that this can be the only reason why Modi will not go in for early elections. Why I say that is he just does not do what we kind of surmise, what we analyze, and what we kind of build on and say, okay, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is done, so this is where he is heading, and this is what he will do. So he will do all that to keep the public guessing, the rumor mills going. I think there is a certain amount of personal thrill he gets out of it, and then he comes up with something completely different. So I think that is what is going to happen. And this the one other thing he did is say maybe last week is to release the agenda of that of this special session starting from tomorrow. What is on the agenda? On the agenda is kind of paying tributes to the great service done by the old Parliament building, right? Singing paeans to how well it served Indian democracy, blah blah blah, and discussing 4 or 5 pending bills. If we really needed to discuss 4 or 5 pending bills, they could have extended the last session. So it did not need a special session. You do not call a special session to discuss pending bills.
Right.
It doesn't kind of, it's not even logical, right? So, especially when the last session ended maybe just 3 weeks before this. So I don't think that's why I call this an innocuous agenda. This agenda has been kept innocuous deliberately, so that we think, okay, acha, this is it. There's nothing. You first build it up to a big thing about one nation, one poll, and then he's going to this, he's going to do that, blah 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 blah. Suddenly, you introduce an agenda which is nothing, which is a nothing agenda, right? So then why call a special session? So that is why I think this gives us clarity that, as I said, it's not going to be one nation, one poll. That's very clear. They don't have the time. It's a much what you call complicated. It's a very intricate issue. It cannot be done in the space of 5 days, right? So that is not on. And discussing, maybe they'll discuss those 4 or 5 pending bills in the first 2 days, but there are it's a 5-day special session, so obviously there's something else coming up. So this is just one other red herring, another chimera that he's thrown at us, and it's up to us what we make out of it.
Right. So what is this session about then, sir?
Yeah. So that's a question, which is what I think we have been trying to analyze for the last few minutes. One thing I can say for certain is that he will bring up some law. Looks like he will bring up some law which the opposition might find tough to stand in the way of. Let's say the women's reservation bill. It's been kind of pending for what now, decades now. Especially some North Indian parties, they are opposed to it. BJP has been for it. Congress has been for it. Most of the parties say we are for it. We are for it. But nothing actually has got done in the last 30 years in terms of actually making 33% reservation for women in assemblies and state in parliament seats, right? So Modi has, over the last 9 years, cultivated women as one of his core constituencies, right? They go out in numbers. They are the ones who have pulled off election after election for him in most places. All the wherever he's won elections in the last 9 years, I think there's a big chunk of women voters that he's taken away from the rest of the parties. So I think if you put these two together, he might want to do something very big for women voters. But as I said, most often, all of us can be with Modi, 1+1, we can make it 11. But he might have some other arithmetic in his mind completely. Then the other thing that he might bring up is caste is a big thing in every Indian election. And this time in Bihar, which is going to be a very critical state for him in 2024.
Right.
Bihar, they've already started a caste census, right? So the caste politics will hit a peak. I think he might want to kind of steal the thunder from the opposition parties by bringing in or talking something about the Rukmini committee on commission on categorization of OBCs. See, for long, the under the 27% OBC reservation, it's been seen that the more dominant caste within the backward caste have walked away with all the benefits of reservation in the last 30 years. So this commission was formed to figure out, to reclassify, to see what are the categorizations, who's got more benefit, who's got less benefit, and how to kind of equalize all these. Backwards are backwards. Why have classifications in backwards? So that's one of the thinkings. So we don't know what the report says. It has been submitted to the president on July 1st. Obviously, the government must have seen the recommendations. They are aware of it. Here, if he might want to do something big, if he does this is a pan-India thing, right? And it will be about castes. So that could be one of the things that he is coming up with. But as I said, you can only kind of preempt Modi on so many things, or guess him out correctly very few times. So let's see what he's coming up with.
So, right. So, there we go, guessing again. But about
Yes,
one
we are
thing
guessing again.
we
You're
are
right.
not guessing is that don't expect anything about early elections in this special session. Expect the unexpected, however. That's where vintage Modi. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're
sir.
right.
That was
That's
very
vintage Modi.
insightful.
That's vintage Modi. Keeps you.
Yes, that's vintage Modi.
Yeah, he keeps you busy, kind of analyzing and strategizing and thinking and double thinking and overthinking, guessing and everything, and then finally he'll have his way.
Right. All right. So, thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us, sir. That was very insightful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, that's all today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified. This is Mandira and you're watching India Today, SoSouth.